Hello, I'm Gavin. What's interesting about a virtual community is that a lot of the struggles we face can help us practice, become better people outside of a virtual community. I even had the thought one time that this reality we're in is a training ground for the real world. And so when we step into a video game or YouTube land or this little corner of the internet or whatever you want to call these virtual spaces, it's the same pattern. We get to practice. We get to have experiences that we can extract them and bring them into like the home with my wife and children. You know, at one point I wanted to be king, the Messiah foretold in the religions, and president of the United States or governor of the state or the CEO of the largest company and most successful company. And you know, my wife couldn't tell me that, hey, you could just try to be a good leader here in the home, or you can get better at loving me and loving the children. Because I would have responded and said, I love better than you do. I'm better at loving than you are. And I would have defended the position. And then playing in the internet with this little corner of the internet, I get to have the experience of being excluded and having people call me names behind my back and to say things about me that aren't true and to be mischaracterized. And then I can read Bible verses and attempt to create videos and think about, well, how do I be a good leader? And how do I be a good brother? How do I be a member of an ecclesia, a community? How can we rebuke each other? How can we deal with our feelings getting hurt? And so I get to go on the internet and do it the wrong way. So I can, the Bible in chapter 18, verse 15 of Matthew, it tells us that we can confront our brother in private, but then I can make the mistake. I learned through trial and error and making my own mistakes and then I go and I call out, Joey A, the administrator on Bridges of Meaning Discord, and I call him out publicly. And it's like, oh, well, maybe if I had learned from a wisdom tradition, not just the book of Matthew, I'm sure it's in many wisdom traditions, I would know. And not even just wisdom traditions. There's plenty of people who have learned this lesson that I didn't learn. That, you don't call people out publicly. And then I'm slow. I had plenty of chances to learn it myself. I did not like being called out publicly, but I did it. I made that mistake. And so if I really take this lesson to heart, then I remember it as a husband. And maybe I encourage it in my wife, and I remember it as a father, and I encourage it in my children. Like this really important piece of wisdom and how we communicate when other people are making mistakes. So I learned these things through trial and error like a dumb person. But I'm the dumb person. It's okay. Somebody's got to be the dumb person who makes the mistakes. And so, it's nice to be able to try and rebuke and correct our brother or sister or our spouse or our child or grandparent or parents or any of these people, and to do that in private. And then when that doesn't work, maybe we find other people who would be willing to try and be of service to the one who is needing to be rebuked. And when you go about that process, you might find, oh, maybe I shouldn't even have rebuked them. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe I should apologize. But maybe you find out it's like, oh, there's actually 2 or 3 people who agree we should go rebuke that person together. And you notice it still hasn't become public. It's still not the public assembly, the ecclesia, which gets translated as church. It's not a public video on a YouTube channel where we go and call out the person before we have tried to do it one-on-one, and before we have tried to do it, as a group of 2 or 3 confronting the one person. And so I'm trying to make this video, and then all of a sudden I hear the kids downstairs, and I hear it, and I'm aggravated because I'm being interrupted creating my video. I go down there and I realize it's like, oh my God, and I use that phrase lightly, but I think it applies here. Oh my God, this Matthew chapter 18 verses 15, 16, and 17 are applicable right now. They're applicable in this little corner of the internet, and they're applicable in the institutions and in the companies, and it's even applicable right here with my 3-year-old and my 6-year-old and my 8-year-old standing nearby, and I get to try and be a facilitator. I can try to facilitate this gentle rebuking, which is an encouraging of them trying to share how they feel and share what they want, share what they see. And next thing you know, my 6-year-old is teaching my 3-year-old, and my 3-year-old's listening and responding, and they're talking, and they're not hitting, and they're not fighting. And it's like, man, if only the leaders of countries could figure this out. If only we could figure this out in our little corner of the internet, how we can facilitate these 3 different ways. There's the one where it's a one-on-one, and there's the one where it's 2 or 3 approaching the one, and then there's the one where it's we probably need to publicly rebuke somebody. And I haven't had this. I've been in this little corner of the internet. I've been in the zeitgeist movement. I've been on teams and parts of companies, and I don't know. Maybe I missed it when people tried to do it to me. But it would be good for us to remember and to practice these things. And we can practice them in the virtual space with strangers where, we get to then ask for forgiveness. Like, for example, to like Joey A, I can ask for forgiveness for calling him out publicly, instead of reaching out privately, and then if that didn't work, reaching out, trying to find at least 1 or 2 more people who would join me in trying to rebuke Joey A before I publicly call out Joey A. But no, I make that mistake. And it's like, well, can we put this into practice and actually create a church, an ecclesia? Can we approach our brothers and sisters and the ecclesia with these strategies in mind for how we help each other, how to see the things that we were blind to and learn? Can we put this into practice anywhere, everywhere, at every moment? So, yeah, I can definitely think of people that I've interacted with in this little corner of the internet who I want to rebuke them. And some of them I have tried to, and it's like, is there a way for me to now connect with other people with the humble spirit of me possibly being wrong, but also with a love for the people I want to rebuke, such that we're not just gossiping, and that we could come together and then have a private meeting that's not recorded, where 2 or 3 of us rebuke, the person I want to rebuke, And then if that doesn't work, then we would do a public rebuke. It's like, no, this person is not a member of this little corner of the internet. This person is not a member of the family. We have to kick them out of the house. And maybe even then, it's like, well, is there a path towards forgiveness and mercy even then? So it would be cool if we figured these things out and put them into practice in all aspects of life. Let me know what you think.